Big Z Reviews. Seance is a new horror film that's produced by Shudder, but right now is in a limited theatrical release and on demand. And it is honestly the best horror movie I've seen in a while, and probably my favorite movie of 2021 so far.
Our climate can be quite competitive.
This is our table. Scram.
No, I'm good here. That light keeps flickering.
That must be the ghost again.
Some girl supposedly killed herself in the dorms years ago.
So you can tell that this movie was inspired by the old giallo horror murder mystery movies, and this is kind of brings it into a modern version of it. And I love this, how like the music is kind of inspired by it. You can see it, they can see all the inspirations, but definitely tried to do its own thing. And I just really loved it. You know, this is written and directed by Simon Barrett, and he is the writer of like two of my favorite films, The Guest and You're Next. And essentially, like, I think it's Adam Wingard, like, he is the director for them, but he kind of helped them get everything up, along with being the writer. And this is his directorial debut. And, you know, it's funny, there was not that much advertising for this. Like, I mainly knew about this because I follow Simon Barrett on Twitter, and he's been, like, talking about it. He's also been doing, like, a lot of old films that kind of, like, inspired him, or, like, they watched, like, leading up to the release. And like he always seems like a really cool guy, really nice guy. And I decided to check it out, but the trailer looked really good. And like I said, I loved it. This is mainly starring Suki Waterhouse as Camille. And I loved how she is just such a badass. Like, essentially, there's this school for girls. And in the beginning of the film, they're like doing this, like look into a mirror and trying to summon the ghost of a dead student that haunts their dormitory. And like, of course, it's just a prank, but then the one girl goes back to her room and maybe there's something real, and she falls out the window to her death. And essentially, Suki Waterhouse comes in as like replacement because there's now an opening at the school. And like the idea, you know, there was definitely a little bit of a Mean Girls going on, you know, led by Inanna Sarkis. And like there's also a nice girl that maybe that's more like helping around, showing around the school, played by Ella-Rae Smith. And like that, I love, like, it's such a cool way to introduce Camille, or Suki Waterhouse, is that, you know, she's just at the table and, you know, eating dinner, and, you know, the Mean Girls come in and like, you're at our table. And like they kind of do something, like they spill her drink on her, and she like stands up and is like, oh, she's gonna walk away, and no, she cold cocks the girl, punches her in the face. And then the whole fight, like the other Mean Girls grab her and start beating the shit out of her, and it's like, oh, okay, this is not just insults, Mean Girls. This is a little more physical, and I just love it. Like you can see that she has a backstory, you know, even though they don't get into it, you know, she has a history, and she can take care of herself, and I love that. And then the idea of the, you know, in the movie is that, you know, they get detention, but while they're detention, they decide to do a seance to talk to their dead friend, you know, and see what actually happened to her. And I love the idea of this because, like, the whole idea is that a lot of the stuff that they do, these girls, they do, like, they're pranks. They're trying to mess with the other girls. But at the same time, they look up and they print off real summoning rituals. And it's, like, in Latin. And then at one point in the movie, it's like, well, you know, even though we did fake it, those were real rituals. So like, uh-oh. I just love that idea. And they also did one of the most original kind of, like, they don't have a Ouija board, but they kind of made their own, and it's a really cool idea. It's like a modern take on it, because like the one girl takes her cell phone case off, and then puts lipstick like in the top and where the lens is, and then they all put their hands on it. That's like as the planchette, and kind of like the free writing, and they write they ask questions and they write what the ghost says or whatever. And the only thing is, like, when I was a couple times, because of how it kind of looks real though how they did it, but I was like, what does that say? And then they say what it is, like, oh, okay, but it's just there's so many things about it really interesting. Also includes like once shit starts going down and girls start dying, the kills, there's nothing. The movie isn't focused on the kills, but there are some decent kills. I like with really good setups though. Like the one is probably the best kind of modern version of like a Giallo-esque kill, because like she's like taking a selfie. And then, like, in the dark, but there's, like, a flash. Like, then she's looking at herself and, like, oh, look how I look in this one. And she sees that there's something back behind her, like, hiding behind a tree. And she's like, what? And then, like, it's a really effective. And there's a lot of stuff like that I hate when modern horror films, like, so many horror films would be, like, it'd be an hour long if they use their cell phone, So most of the time, the writers and directors trying to find a way to dismantle the cell phone, have it not work somehow, But this, like, they actually have the stuff, they work with it, They even have, like, with electrical glitches where there might be ghosts. Like, she's listening to, like, a little, like, Bluetooth speaker, and, like, weird stuff happens. It's not just flickering lights. Like, I really like that it shows how great a writer Simon Barrett is. And it's really well directed, too. There's some beautiful shots. Like, I really like some of the different things they did. And, like, I'm not going to spoil towards the end, but I love that, like, you don't know, is there a ghost? Is there a murderer? Are there multiple murderers? Like, who could it be? Is it, like, the actual mystery was pretty good. Like, I had an idea about one thing, and I was like, I hope they don't go that way. But then they went something like that way, and I was like, oh, nice, I like that. And then the final climax of this film is so good. I just absolutely loved it. Like, it's, I don't know, it's not, I'm gonna say it's almost like John Wick. Like, not really, it's not like that kind of action, but there's the way the scenes are set up, and, like, the way the choreography goes down, like, there's stuff that you wouldn't think about ever seeing or doing. Like, I've never kind of seen something like that in a movie. Like, something that, like, something Suki Waterhouse does is just, like, in the middle of a scene, like, she changes up to try to like do something else so she can survive, and it's so cool. But also they keep a little bit of funny in it too, a little bit of comedy, because, like, something else happens with it too right after that scene. I think if you watch the movie, you'll know what I talk about. Let's say it involves a light fixture. Like, everything around that whole time I absolutely loved. And there's also the best kills are towards the end. And I love that. There's so much here, and it's really, really good. I wasn't expecting that much. And like I said, that when I bought it, like, I don't know, there were no reviews on the Amazon one yet. So, and I don't know, it's too bad I looked on IMDb, the reviews for that aren't great, but, it's sometimes, a lot of times the critics go bad on horror films, if they're not horror people. But if you're a horror fan, especially if you're looking for maybe a modern take on those old horror murder mystery movies, I think you'll love this, because I absolutely loved it. And I think I definitely recommend it. I'd probably give it like a 9.25, 9.5 out of 10. Simon Barrett did a really good job with Seance. And I really love Suki Waterhouse, but all the girls are really good. They definitely played, all the mean girls, they played their roles really well, and I really like what they did. But thanks for watching, and if you want to see any more of me, you can subscribe down below. Thanks.